Ideas are nothing until we make them real. Harness the power of dreams.
A recent survey found about 43% of employees expect organizations to continue offering work from home options even after the pandemic ends. It comes as companies try to navigate the Delta variant and decide when or if teams should return to the office. The survey from PayScale found while employers have different strategies and priorities, nearly 3/4 agree remote work will change the talent landscape, especially in white-collar industries. To discuss this survey, I want to bring in Scott Torrey. He is the CEO of PayScale and joins us from Seattle. Scott, welcome. Thanks for being with us. So, what did this survey by PayScale reveal about how work is changing for those who can perform their jobs remotely?
What the survey revealed is that there is a wide gap between what employees are seeking right now. As you indicated, over 25% of employees expect to be working remotely, either permanently or significantly. In the technology space where I live, it's almost 70% of employees are seeking a more remote or flexible option. But the complication is employers, over 81% of employers have not yet really clarified their plans and their strategies here. And that gap in terms of what employees are seeking clarity on and their expectations is causing a little bit of a challenge in the market.
Right. So there's the gap between employee expectation and employer expectation. So this survey also found that nearly 7 in 10 organizations say they do not plan to decrease pay for current employees doing most of their work remotely. But is where employees live versus where their companies are located becoming a big factor when it comes to determining salaries?
So this is one of the most hotly debated topics and important ones for companies to have a clear strategy around. Historically, location has served as one of the biggest indicators. And as you've indicated, 69% of companies don't intend to change that as of right now. But there's some really big test cases out there. Companies like Google and Facebook being very visible and very public about giving employees more clarity that if you choose to move, we'll choose to change your pay. And that continuum and that debate is what's going to continue to resolve itself in the market.
It's interesting. So do you think we will see that change as some employees decide they want to keep working from home? Are they willing to take the pay cut to do that? Or are they going to fight and say, look, my work is valued exactly the same if I can do it as well from here as from there?
I think that one of the things that's been really clear through this pandemic is that employees have adjusted tremendously, and the impact that they've had on their companies and the quality of the work that they've done has been very high. And so I would expect that what's going to happen is we are going to see a bit of a migration towards more aggregated pay on a more national level and less specific pay associated with the exact location you're in, because location is becoming much more temporal. And I think this is a good thing. I think it gives us opportunity to find talent that we may not have had access to before, and allows us to increase our focus on diversity, and some of the challenges that companies have had with finding diverse candidates are eliminated. So there's some real positives that come from your markets opening up your possible hiring locations.
Absolutely. But there are also challenges in that it's harder to mentor people. It's harder to get to know people in your organization. If you have some people coming in and some people working remotely, won't managers just by default sort of favor the people that they're seeing in front of them every day because they feel like they're getting to know them better? So there are certainly challenges in any sort of hybrid model, aren't there?
Yeah, there certainly are, and we face those every day. As we've been at this for almost 18 months, and so there's no doubt that the complication of always working remotely and the lack of intimacy that creates sometimes is a challenge. And I think you're seeing a lot of companies starting to pivot towards more of their investment on exactly these topics. So we used to invest in chefs and masseuses in the tech space to attract talent. Now it's in collaboration tools, it's in offsite capabilities, it's in the ability to find ways to engage and to collaborate that are just different. And the pandemic continues to impact this. And so the investment companies are making are moving in this direction will continue to evolve.
And so, according to this survey, what are some of the top priorities for employees right now, and what do they want to see from their companies moving forward? Have their priorities shifted? I mean, for so long, employees really just wanted to make a lot of money, get ahead as much as they could, and as quickly as they could. But has the pandemic, placed some other priorities front and center?
Listen, I think the pandemic has put us all in a challenging position. We are working from home, we're working with our families, we're working with other pressures on us. And so the things that come out in the pay scale survey that employees are telling us is they're seeking some flexibility, they're seeking support, and they're seeking options that allow them to both continue to deliver as the employees, the quality employees they want to be, but also as the moms and dads that they're required to be.
Nothing wrong with a little balance in life. Scott Torrey, thank you so much for joining.
All right. We're going to talk about this. I want to thank Dominique Janot for sending this story. And part of this survey involved many Black employees that are working from home, and they absolutely don't want to return back to the office. So this is CBS News, October 25th, 2021. And I don't blame them. You're not dealing with racism. You're not dealing with people um, going above and beyond to ignore you. You're not around people that don't value your opinion because of your race. And they can't go out of their way to mistreat you because you're working from home. So it's a win-win situation when it comes down to the Black community and working remotely, the way I see it. Just like I did a story about a year ago, and it was saying Black children are actually doing a lot better remotely. That's because they're not dealing with the classroom racism, a racist Karen teacher, and any of those things that are stressing them out. So they're actually doing better and they're getting better grades working remotely. So that says a lot. It says a lot. And it's said to be the same thing when it comes down to Black men and women working from home. They said the quality of work is better from them since they've been working from home. Again, minus all of the daily stress, unnecessary stress that's on you. So, Tennessee mom Ashley Brooks enjoys working in tech support at the Nashville firm, in large part because the job has been remote since the beginning of the pandemic. All right. But with her employer likely to summons employees back to the office in 2022, she is nervous. Like many Black Americans, Brooks found the thought of returning back to work discomforting. Indeed, while polls suggest some employees are content to be back at their desk, Black workers told CBS Money Watch that being in a predominantly white workplace often exacts an emotional toll. Working from home offers a measure of inner peace and even helps them do their jobs better, they said. I believe that. I absolutely believe that. It definitely feels more comfortable at home, said Brooks, who is commuting to work. So she was commuting back and forth to work prior to the pandemic, and I don't have to worry so much about my hair and the way I dress. You don't have to answer dumb questions about your hair. Yeah, yeah. The sentiments are common among people of color, including in corporate America. For decades, Black employees have reported feeling marginalized at work, which you are. And that's also part of the rigging. That's also part of rigging so that when it comes time for you to get a raise, well, you didn't really stand out. Even if you did stand out, they're going to ignore you and downplay all of your efforts. So then that justifies why you get less of a raise than someone else. They play these games. They really do. Again, part of the rigging. So, all right, and being regulated to lower paying roles, which is quite often done to Black employees, even when their credentials qualify them for a higher level of position, because they don't want you there. They don't want you high up. So they got to figure out a way to downplay everything about you to justify keeping you in a low paying position when you are definitely eligible for a much better and much higher position. That is, again, part of the rigging. Black women in particular say typically a workday often requires looking past microaggressions from coworkers, ignoring comments about their natural hairstyles, or suppressing emotions, lest they be labeled as an angry Black woman. An October survey of more than 10,000 workers from Future Forum, a research group focused on workplace issues, found that 66% of Black respondents want a flexible schedule compared to 59% of white employees. And the white employees are more than likely to get it. And if you ask for it, they'll have some excuse on why they get it and why you don't. I mean, I'm telling you, it's all a political game, and it's also filled with racial bias. That's what it is. The survey concluded that Black workers are happier in their jobs and have more favorable view of their employer when working remotely. Yeah, because you're being left alone. You're being left alone. A big part of the experience of race at work is your sense of comfort or belonging. Brian Lowery, Stanford University social psychologist, said in a published survey, if you want to work in an environment where you're in the minority, the office might be less comfortable. But if you can work at home and not feel a sense of being constantly on the outside, which again, part of the rigging, they go above and beyond to make you feel like you're other. If you remove the everyday tension, that can improve your experience. A BuzzFeed News survey earlier this year found that Black workers were anxious about returning to the office after spending the past year and a half from a subtle racism that often pervades office life. No surprise then. The Brooks describes working from home as a relief. It really is. It really is. I look, I would rather see no one but the computer screen over being around a situation like that at work. When you work remotely, nobody can hang a noose up. Nobody can stick racist notes on your desk. No one can racially harass you and claim that the aggression is coming from you and it's really coming from them. See, they can't play their bag of tricks when you're working from home. They can't do those things unless they have access to you. And if they don't have that access to you like they did every day in the office, what can they really do? Nothing. They can't claim that you've done something to them. They can't go in the boss's office and make some lie up about you. See, all of that's gone. It's all gone. All right. So, that's a chore and a job in itself. It really exhausting to have to correct people or consider how the work environment is taking toll on you. Yeah, when you work from home, you don't have to worry about that. And like I said, they don't have access to you anymore. So they can't bother you. They can't come by and snoop on you and see what you're doing. They can't look at what you're doing and then turn around and complain to the boss about what you're doing, or you're not doing your job, and all that lame stuff that they usually try to pull on these jobs. So all of that's gone and out the window. So, so yeah, it's a peaceful experience for the person that's working from home. And I don't blame anybody that you have peace of mind. You don't have to worry about how you look. You don't have to worry about getting dressed. You can sit there with your cup of coffee or whatever you enjoy having in the morning, and nobody is going to bother you over it. Okay? Nobody's going to bother you. So I sure wouldn't miss it, you know, but I can understand why a lot of people are putting up resistance about going back on these jobs. I don't blame you. You know, I'm seeing now from the majority of the people, work experience is not a pleasant one. And this is not just Black people. When you go and look in the comments section about what people are writing, it's people that look just like them are some of the biggest complainers about their jobs, or how the treatment, or some of the women felt, because of them being a woman, they were treated a certain way. Now all of that's gone because they are working from home. So y'all, please tell me what you think. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.